to the Friday Menifee Agency team call. Excited to have you all on this morning. Excited to get back from conference. We had a great meeting in Tucson. Great to see many of you there. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the exciting things that are coming out of that event. So before we do that, however, we're going to jump on some leaderboards. And obviously, coming out of conference, it's a little bit difficult having that over the weekend scheduled and bouncing all that. So still had a great week in production, but I realize for some of you, numbers probably aren't what you're used to, but juggling travel, and it's definitely worth the investment of being at conference to walk away with some really great training to go out and grow your businesses. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in on leaderboards. Ms. Stella Dinwiddie had one application for $608 direct to myself. And I know, Stella, you've got some other business pending. And actually, that's a good reminder, a quick note here. If the numbers I call out for you are not accurate, or if you feel like there's a business missing, it's probably because it's still pending or in agency approval. So when we pull the numbers this morning, not all the business may have cleared. So not trying to shortchange it, just we have to go off what's actually showing up on the leaderboard. So Donna Bates had one application, $840 direct to Spencer. John Gilliam had two applications, $1,294 direct to John Paul Vetter. Brett Applin had two applications, $1,758 direct to John Paul. We had Matt Glass, one application, $1,925 direct to Jeremiah. We had Greg Shapiro, four applications, $2,263 direct to myself. James Gerling, two applications, $3,509 direct to Jeremiah. We had Spencer Cushion, five applications, $4,089 direct to myself. The number one writer for the week, and actually a new writer. I don't know if we announced her as a new writer last week, but she still qualifies as new. Miss Danielle Gregg had four applications, $10,314 direct to Brett Applin for the Vetter Agency. Congratulations for a monster first week right out of the gate. And yeah, so she keeps that pace up, that you guys are going to have a lot of fun. So great job, Danielle. Awesome new writer, and obviously number one new writer on the team as a whole. So that is awesome. All right, guys, coming back from conference. Wow, what an event. We had some, we had just an amazing time. To be quite honest with you, there was part of me that, this event was only 3 months out of our previous one. So there's a piece of me is like, man, it's awful quick turnaround. I'm not sure we need a meeting that quick, but I mean, I know the value of this, so it wasn't like I didn't want to be there, but I just, in my mind, I was kind of a little bit curious on that quick of a turnaround, how that was going to go. And I've heard many say, and I believe this myself, this is one of the best, and we say this every time, but it's one of the best conferences that we have had. In fact, maybe the best. And I think just because it was a different format, not really a different format, but just a different venue. We kind of, because we're doing the Wayland hierarchy, it was a little bit smaller, a little bit more intimate. Everybody, had a little bit more chance to be up close to the stage, have a lot more interaction. And so, it was a phenomenal meeting. I was really pleased with the outcome. Wanted to go over some of the things that came out, some of my takeaways from conference, and share with you guys kind of, a high level what I saw coming out of this event and what I'm excited about moving forward, really pushing through to the end of the year. And for those of you who were there, after I get done kind of going through, I'm going to kind of open the lines for anybody that wants to pop in, maybe share a thought or two, maybe a couple minutes, keep the time frame, somewhat tight, so don't go on a real long diatribe about everything that went on for the entire weekend, but just kind of share some highlights. But let me kind of first touch base. One of the things that was most impactful, I think, or one of the things that I heard that it kind of maybe not re-energized, but maybe, kind of confirm my excitement for this company and for the future. And to a certain degree, kind of pumped it up again, was Jacob Poe. His speech, which, for those of you who are brand new, Jacob's kind of one of the top people in our hierarchy. He's been here about 5.5, 6 years, has built a monster agency. He's part of the advisory board. So he is privy to some information going on in the background, some things for the future of Symmetry that are really exciting and a lot that we don't even know about. All we know is they're big. And, he shared some things with us from stage, talking about the future of Symmetry and where this business is going. And it gets exciting because, we get focused a lot of times on building our business, whether it's in production or whether it's building an agency, and that's good, that's important, we have to, but there's a bigger vision, there's a bigger mission here that we're all plugged into and a part of, and what's happening on a grander scale is going to have a direct impact on our ability to have success and what level of success that we're going to have. And a couple things that Jacob shared was just really impactful. He made a quote, he gave us a quote from actually Brian Pope, one of the founders of Symmetry, one of the 3 owners. And actually, I've heard Brian say something similar to this on calls before, and I'd love to hear him talk because he's such a visionary. But Brian made the point that this industry is going to go through a transformation. The insurance industry as a whole is going to go through a transformation. And it's easy to say and easy to recognize, and he's absolutely right, because of everything's changing so quickly in our world. Technology is really changing our entire process, how we operate, the growth curves. Everything about how we do business is changing with technology. And so Brian says this industry is going to go through a transformation. Symmetry Financial Group will change the way insurance is sold. That's part of the mission of Symmetry, is to be an industry disruptor, and disruptor in a good way, to really rewrite the script on how products are sold. If you think about it, the industry has operated on a process for the last 100 years. Hire agents, have them go out, sell friends and family, get referrals, eventually build up a business, build up a basic clientele. And that's still how most companies do that. We've already been a little bit of a disruptor just through our leads program, but we're going beyond that with the products and the services, and really the way that we're going to be marketing. The things that are going on in the background, again, we don't really know all the details, but I can tell you some of the things that they're working on with technology, for us to be able to market insurance online, and do so in a way where, in fact, this is a point that Brian made one time, I think it was at maybe last conference, maybe the one before, do so where we're marketing insurance online, but not cutting you, the agent, out, which is what a lot of companies are trying to do. A lot of companies are trying to figure out a way to sell insurance direct to the consumer, but cut the agent out. Symmetry says, no, we got to have agents, we got to people out there building personal relationships and building businesses. That's how you move product. And so that's what they're working on. And guys, if you think about a company like an Amazon, that started out just selling books out of a garage, and where it's at now. If you think about, this is the insurance version of Amazon, that gets really kind of exciting and mind-boggling. And so Jacob shared some things. He's talking about, what we do right now. We're the fastest growing IMO in the industry, but we're still just a blip on the radar of the industry. We're getting noticed, don't get me wrong, but we're a fraction of a percentage of the volume that's being sold every week, every month, every year. We're getting bigger and bigger pieces of that. But Jacob made the point, if we get to just 1%, think about this, guys, just 1%. If we grow to just 1% of this industry volume, our goals are a lot bigger than that, so don't get me wrong. And let's again, he was using very conservative numbers. If we grow at just 1%, what that would look like in our structure is we would have 6,000 agency owners. Guys, we have roughly 150 to 175 right now. 6,000 agency owners. Okay, people that own businesses within the company. We would have 1,000 110 level contracted agents. And right now we have roughly, I'm going to say around 30 to 35, and I'm just kind of estimating based on what I know. So we would be at 1,000 110s. We would be at 550 equity partners, which an equity partner is somebody who's at the 110 level, but they've also helped somebody else get to that 110 level, and now they're receiving what we call an equity bonus. We'd have 550. Guys, right now, we have about 12 to 15 equity partners. And if you pay attention to the leaderboards, right now, those guys, their bonus on a monthly basis runs anywhere from around 25 to 100,000 a month, just their bonus. Okay, but that's today's numbers. When you look at when we're at that level, we're at 1% of the industry, which is where we will be at 1%. We're going to be over 1%. But if we stop at 1%, those equity partners at that time, 550 of them, their bonus, not what they're earning on their agency, but their bonus is anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million a month. So I'm sharing that with you because we sometimes hear people say, oh, especially on the recruiting, and I get it. We look at, especially those who are really active in recruiting, like, man, there's just so many people running ads, and there's, it's saturated, it's overloaded. Guys, we haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, it's cliche to say that, but it's true. The growth potential here is just, it's mind-boggling. I can't even wrap my head around it, to be honest with you. I mean, I walk through these numbers and it blows my mind. But I wanted to share that, and remind everybody who was there, and for the few of you who weren't able to come, what is really on tap and in store for this company, and can be for you if you make that decision to be a part of it. And that was some of the other things that I wanted to touch on this morning is this company is going to reach those levels and higher. We will have that success. What's going to happen is you're going to have to make a decision if you're going to be part of that. There's going to be a lot of people who will be part of that. And there's going to be, and like I said, these numbers, sometimes reading these numbers out, it just sounds like a number. It's just like 6,000 agency owners, 1,000 110s, 550 equity partners. That's kind of detached. But those are real people. You can be a part of that. You can be in that number if you make the decision. And some of the other things that really struck me, some things that I wrote down. Brian Williamson, the coach that we work with through Giant, he had something to say that I think was really profound. He was talking about seeing your future self. So something that is paramount in this business is you have to have faith. And I wish I'd written this down. I always get this confused. The biblical definition of faith. Faith is the substance of things not seen or evidence. I can say I always get that flipped around. But basically, faith is that. Well, let me just put it like Brian said. You need to see your future self confidently. Okay. So you need to see yourself already there. And that's faith. It's going to happen. And one of the other things that I wrote down, just staying in the game will produce courage. Just staying in the game will produce the courage. And that correlates with what I've heard. In fact, one of our other founders, Brandon Ellison, made that statement at last conference. He said, guys, if you just stay here, just gut it out and figure it out. He said, in 10 years, you will not believe where your life will be. And, you know, so, but these, again, going back to, you know, these numbers that this company is going to be putting up and your participation in that. Faith without action is worthless. So there's two elements to faith. You got to believe it. You got to believe it as real as it's happening today. But you got to have action to back that up. Spencer is chiming in. I knew he would help me out. Our faith-based leader here in the team, and I appreciate that. Now, faith is assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. And I love that translation. Actually, thank you, Spencer, for sharing that particular one. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for. The assurance of things hoped for. The conviction of things not seen. And you know, guys, that's the thing about this. Yeah, I think it's the toughest part about this, because I know there's a lot of people, you know, are just getting started, maybe, you know, first time on the phone, or maybe you've been on the phones for a while, and maybe you've been in a few weeks, and still in that learning curve, trying to figure out, still making those mistakes. And, you know, that's where having that vision, but also just realize that it's going to be there if you will be there, if you'll stick it out. You know, some other things that, you know, kind of getting into what it takes to actually perform. One, and I wrote this quote down, and I'm kicking myself because I didn't write down who said it. I think it was on one of the panels, and I want to say it was Brad Shinovar that actually said this. I'm going to give him credit. He'll get free credit for this, even if he didn't say it. But he made the statement, each and every one of us are in business. So if you're an agent, you know, and your interest is selling product, and you have no interest in building a team, and that's fine, then you're still in business. You're in business for yourself. You are a corporation, an army of one, so to speak. But you're still in business for yourself, and you hired yourself. You are your employee. And even if you're building a team, you still hire yourself. And he made the point, and I love what he said, because all of us get into this for I mean, one of the big key components is the compensation that you can earn. And a lot of people are wanting to get into the six figures, over $100,000 or more. They said you got to look at it is, if you started in this business and you want to earn that kind of money, you got to look at it as you hire yourself at a salary of $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000, or whatever that number is. What kind of effort, if you're going to pay that, if you're actually going to start writing checks every month to pay somebody to produce for your business, and you're going to be writing them, you know, over a course of a year, $100,000 or $200,000 check, what kind of activity would you expect from that person? What kind of production? What kind of activity specifically? You know, what kind of work would that person be putting in? And you got to put that in. You've got to demand that from yourself. And too many times we let ourselves off the hook. We won't make those demands of ourselves. We kind of want to wish it happens. You know, cross our arms, blink, nod our head 3 times, and hope it happens. But you are hiring yourself when you get into this business. And you're going to get, the thing about commission sales and about this type of business, you're going to get paid what you're worth, what your activities are worth. So if you don't like what you're getting paid, you're going to have to go walk and look in the mirror, because you're getting paid what your activities are worth. So, you know, a quote that came out from Miranda: amateurs have a goal, professionals have a process. Guys, the beautiful thing about this business model, and a lot of times when I'm interviewing people, I tell them this is very similar in a lot of respects to a franchise system, in that we have all the tools, the resources, the process. The process is in place. Everything is in place. And you just have to plug in and learn it, number one. You know, it's not just, you're not going to walk in day one and know it. You got to put your work and time in. But that process is there. Amateurs have a goal. Professionals have a process. We've already taken care of that piece for you. The process is there. Now it's up to you to learn it, execute it, make it happen. And, you know, at the end of the day, I come back to what Jacob was talking about. This company, this business is going to produce massive success for a lot of people. And each and every one on this call today can be a part or a piece of that and have a massive chunks of that if you just simply make the decision. Guys, I'm going to kind of take a quick breather here and open the lines, and just, you know, for those of you who were there and want to share some of your thoughts and either related to what I said or what really impacted you and what you want to see moving forward, and kind of thinking about what's the run look like to the end of the year. You know, what are you going to accomplish to check off the boxes on what you want to accomplish for your personal life and your personal success and growth. So, John Paul, I see you unmuted. Go ahead and
absolutely
lead us off.
All, yeah. So,
I don't hear you, Red. Let me hang on just a second. Let me make sure there you go.
Okay.
Yep, I got you now.
All right, gotcha. So a couple of things, really. So in reference to the conference, I mean, it was just an amazing event. I mean, for those that were there, I mean, to me, it was the best conference we've had so far. And those have, been to the other national conferences, that's saying something. But I think that because it was smaller, it's been shared and echoed by a lot of the other leaders as well. But it was more intimate. You were able to connect with people and to be able to spend more time with our team. So I really enjoyed the opportunity to be able to interact with our team more one-on-one, as opposed to at the bigger national conference. It's just so much going on, and the sheer magnitude of the event, it makes it difficult to spend that time to connect with people sometimes. So, but a great event. Kudos to all the 110s and the Whalen Hierarchy for putting that on, and everyone who made the trip. I mean, it was definitely worthwhile, and I've got nothing but rave positive feedback and reviews from everybody in my organization. So that's that as far as the conference was concerned. But what you were sharing a moment ago about the sheer growth opportunity with what we have going on, I don't think people really understand what that means. I don't, when you sit, like you said, when you sit down, people just hear these numbers and they don't truly understand. Let me just put this in a couple of different ways. And those, if you're wired the right way, you're going to get it. And if not, then we got to work on you changing your perspectives and mental horizons to understand what's truly possible. Chris Menifee and myself and a few other people on this call, specifically Jeremiah Nolan and folks who already worked their way into agency ownership and the leaders on this call. There's too many for me to start individually naming folks. I apologize for not having an itemized list, but you know who you are. Those individuals will be millionaires with this company over the next few years, some with more money than you can even count. It's already being done by the Marshall Whalens and Ed Pritchett's, and they had to go back and do it with an abacus and a stone tablet and a hammer and chisel. They didn't have the tools and resources that we have now. Back in the day, they were talking about, how long it took them to get to certain levels within this company. And now we have people doing it in half or less the time. The debt-free living, your family bank product that we have, and I don't know if the official name has been announced. I don't want to let the cat out of bag, on some of the things we discussed on the other calls, but That's a game changer. I don't think people understand just the sheer volume of revenue that's going to be generated by this. And there are many of you on this call who are also going to be in that group, that you're going to be independently wealthy from this opportunity. But make no mistake, Symmetry is going to get there with or without you or me or Chris Menefee. It's going to happen. The question is, are you going to hitch your wagon to this train and be a part of that? And the reason why most people won't truly become successful to the extent that they dream about, right, or they want to, is in those of you on the group me, I share a lot of inspirational memes and posts and things like that mean a lot to me personally, and hopefully it resonates with some of you, some of the things I put on there. But I shared one, that I put up there a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, and it's pretty simple. Most people will never become who they want to be because they're too attached to who they've been. Think about that. The price of progress is the pain of change. You've got to expand your horizons into what you can accomplish and what you think is possible. In the numbers that Chris shared a moment ago, there are going to be many of you on this call, who are going to be a part of that. And there's unfortunately, some folks on the call that won't be there. We want everyone to be a part of that. Absolutely. But I can't do it for you. And that's where you have to look in the mirror and understand, what do you need to do in your own world, in your own mentality, in your own perspectives, to be able to rise to the occasion and be able to embrace that opportunity and see what you need to do to be the best you that you can possibly be. And that's really what this journey is about, right? And one of the things that I shared from stage when I had the privilege of speaking at conference is, when we say about the process, the system, that's not just hyperbole and conjecture. It's not just some random, cliche. It's not just a buzzword. It's real. That's what has allowed me to find the success that I've had in the short amount of time that I've been here, because I just followed the system and plugged and play and matched my skill set with the opportunity. That's it. It's not rocket science. It's not magically, deliciously, in the ether, right? You follow the system. It's a grind. It's not easy. There's challenges. We've all gone through it. We still go through it. Don't think that because you see somebody's names on the leaderboards or they're climbing the ladders that they have it all peaches and roses and flowers and unicorns and rainbows. It's not. It's tough. We all have our own challenges, but it's how you meet that adversity that determines where you ultimately end up. Does it make you or does it break you? But the process is what it is. But most people just want to be in the result. They don't want to be in the process or the struggle. Just give me instant gratification. I just want the result. People want the result, but they don't want to be in the process. But this, more than anything you've ever done in your life, it's in the process and the struggle that determines who deserves the result. That's real. So anyway, I don't want to take up because there's other folks that probably want to speak, but you've got to believe that this is where you were meant to be. My flag is planted. I'm done. I'll never do anything else in my life. This is where I was meant to be. My entire life, my entire career, everything I've ever done, all the successes that I've had have prepared me for the phone call that I made with Chris Menefee when I ran across that ad a little over a year ago in ZipRecruiter. Believe that.
Awesome, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
Dang, you beat me too, but well said. And I'd much rather follow you after you said all of that. Very good. Chris, I'm sorry. I'm just going to sort of jump in here to talk to the points that John Paul said, and though he gave me a hard time at conference. And to answer and to respond to the questions that you put out for all of us, Chris, we're going to be, the Lardner Pappas Agency is going to be making a run for AO, agency owner, by the end of this year. Hang on to the seats, guys and gals that are in my group, because it's now publicly made and committed to everybody here. So following in Jeremiah's and John Paul's, obviously our fearless leader, Chris Menefee's footsteps, piggybacking on John Paul, the process. Going through the process, and I'm stuck right in the midst of all of the thickness and grudge and slime and grime. Trust me, I am. Conversations with Chris. Be okay with getting dirty. Rolling up your sleeves, rolling up your pant legs. You know, you're going to be, I hate to put it this way because this sounds so dirty, but you're going to be in the sewage. Be okay with that. It's not pretty. Nobody sees all of the stuff that we go through and what I'm getting ready to just love on and embrace and all of that. And sometimes people will check us and go, oh my gosh, are you mentally okay? But yes, we all are. So be okay with that. That's one of the things that it comes back to me and haunts me regularly, is embrace the hardships, embrace the challenges, embrace the sewage of building a business. And yet our guest speaker, though there were so many, Chris, yes, so many fabulous speakers, Chris's speech as well. Hal Elrod, I'd be remiss if I didn't say something about him, because he has been, I think, the backbone of helping each and every single one of us, the 110s, all the way up to our founders, including Marshall, and with the Miracle Morning. Everybody in my group knows from day one interview, expectation, day number one is read the Miracle Morning if you didn't have it already. Go get it, read it. Hal, getting back to what Hal said, that Miracle Morning will prevent burnout. If you're an overachiever and you dive in and obsess about it and don't know when to call it quits for the day, guilty. Do your Miracle Morning. And that's why it's so important to read that book for all of my folks that are on this call right now. As well as there's a rule that really touched my heart, and I know Lori and I have already been putting it into practice. And it's the 5-minute rule. Scott, Mank, Chris, everybody here has told me and has repeated to each and every single one of us on numerous occasions, privately and publicly, as well as at the conference, this is going to be a struggle. You're building a business. It's going to be, you're going to be emotionally attached to the successes that you have and the failures, which brings me to another thought. But your emotions are going to be like a roller coaster. More impactfully the first 90 days. And that's okay. We're all human. No, you're going to make mistakes, failing forward. That's why we have the constant correction piece in our 4 cornerstones with that activity. In that situation, when you're just disappointed in yourself, or you're disappointed in the results, or whatever the case may be, you want to reach up or reach out across. Never reach down as you're building, even though it could be a best buddy. Allow yourself up to 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and I'm serious, the way Hal said it, it resonated with me, because I'm one of those people, I'm gonna yell, scream, swear, cuss, at the top of my lungs, punch pillows, do whatever you have to do, get it out of your system. You have 5 minutes. And you're going to turn around and realize, oh my gosh, I don't need the full 5 minutes. And then move on. Emotional invincibility. Number one of my takeaways, because I am such an emotionally charged person. Chris and Lori know me well. And some of my closest agents know me well also. But this is huge. This is huge for me. And yet I know Chris has been telling me this for the last 2 years, thereabouts. And yet it really shook my entire being when Hal said this to me, and how he said it, not to me, well, I felt like he was talking to me, but to everybody at conference. And lastly, the one thing that I want to say that really resonated with me, and I have got to remember this, and I think I'm going to go ahead and just post it on my office right across from my desk, is Miranda, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Miranda. She posted a meme of Thomas Edison with the light bulb with a quote that said, when he was approached and said, wow, I'm surprised that you finally came up with a light bulb because you failed so many times. And the quote from Thomas Edison is, I didn't fail 10,000 times. The light bulb has 10,000 steps. Everybody, when we're taking these steps forward and we're falling what we feel like on our face, or we're afraid of falling on our face, guilty as well, we need to realize and remember we just are taking those steps to get to where we're supposed to be. Not where we're going to be, where we are supposed to be, where we're meant to be. To John Paul's point, he's meant to be here. Each and every single one of us is meant to be here. And it all starts with activity. We need to begin, otherwise we will never get to where we're going. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Julia. Some great thoughts there. And yeah, I hadn't touched on Hal Elrod yet because I knew somebody would swing in and pick that one up. So got to leave some good content on the table for you guys to throw out there. But very good. Anybody else, feel free to chime in if you got something that really impacted you, or something that you want to add to the conversation from conference. All right. A couple more things, guys, that just to kind of tie up what some of these folks were sharing, and just to kind of again reiterate, you know, what they were talking about with, you know, what it takes to be successful here. And there was another statement that I came across actually from Sean Shannon in the speech that he gave in my notes here. But he was talking about the importance of time. You know, we all know we've got time limits. You know, I mean, obviously all of us have an expiration date. None of us know what that date is. But you've only got a limited amount of time to make things happen in your life. And so the importance of time, you know, focusing on, you know, what your higher goal is. And he said something that really made me stop and think. He said, you know, people that come into the business, and this is a common number that's thrown out, say, well, you know, if I could get to the point where it's making $250,000 a year, I'd be really happy. That's kind of my target. And Sean did a little quick breakdown and said, you know, if you break that down, work, say if you were on a salary, so to speak, working 50 weeks out of the year, taking a couple weeks off, you know, working a standard, you know, 40, 50, 60-hour week schedule. If you figure that up on an hourly basis, that would be roughly $125 an hour that you were being paid to earn that annual salary. The question is, as you're going throughout your day, each day, you look at what you're doing, and you got to be really honest with what activities you're working on. Are those $125 an hour activities? Are those going to get you where you want to go? And, you know, I'm not going to name off all, obviously there's a lot of different things that we can easily find ourselves getting distracted in on a day-to-day basis. But the question is, you know, looking when you're in the midst of that, when you're doing an activity, or maybe when you're looking back, you're kind of doing some self-reflection at the end of the week, end of the month, you know, maybe even at a halfway point in the year, and you're looking and say, oh, man, gosh, I don't know if I'm where I want to be. Look at your schedule for the last week, last month, last 6 months, last year. Are the activities you're doing worth $125 an hour? If not, then you need to reevaluate where you're putting your time and effort in. And to bring this to a close, you know, one of the things that Jacob said, kind of wrapping up his speech, there's 3 things that this business requires. And again, it doesn't matter if you're out writing business or if you're building a team or both. There are 3 things that are absolutely fundamental to success in this business. Number 1 is faith. Number 2 is courage. Number 3 is discipline. Without those 3 elements, you will struggle in this business. And he wrapped up his speech with the statement, don't let people who won't tell you you can't. And I think that is very profound, because whether somebody is telling you that directly or whether it's just you are telling yourself that from past thought patterns, from the way you were raised, or you know, things that you've gone through in life, you may be telling yourself that. You've got to change that thought process. So guys, I'm going to wrap that portion of the call up. I've got a couple other things that we have to touch on here. Just kind of some housekeeping and announcements. And let me pull up a couple of events that are coming up. Guys, we have, be thinking about next year, the cruise in April. And I haven't really promoted that yet, but we really need to be really pushing on that, because here's the thing, guys, that cruise, it's a little bit more of an investment, but that's going to be our 10-year anniversary cruise. We've got a ship that is rented. We've rented, I don't know if that's how you say that. I don't know if you rent the ship, but anyway, we reserved the entire ship. It's just going to be us on the boat. It's going to be an entire cemetery cruise. Guys, be a part of that. It's going to be such an impactful event. You want to talk about the opportunity of hanging around some of the top privately chartered, thank you, Julia, I like that. That's actually the better way to say that. You don't rent a boat, you privately charter a boat. So, but this is going to be an opportunity to hang around the top performers in the business on a day-to-day basis. And do so in a very relaxed format. So, guys, take advantage of that. And the reason I'm bringing it up now, it's in April, we're in August. You've got time to put that. They've got some really nice payment plans to put that on to make that really affordable. So be looking at that. Plan that into your business. Say, okay, here's how the payment plans are broken up. That means I need to write 1 extra policy a month to pay for that. You know, go ahead and plan that out. Do your business planning and put that in. Be on that cruise, guys. I can't tell you the impact of just being at conference in general, but that event is going to be special just because of the venue and the format that that's going to be in. I don't even know that I could really do it justice trying to describe how much different that's going to be, and how much better that's going to be hanging around all these successful people. The other announcement, we have Leaders Retreat coming up in November, and I should have looked those. I think I want to say November 6th and 7th. Do you know, Laurie? I don't. Okay, we'll figure it. Yeah, Julia's saying yes, 6 and 7. So I think I actually.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's right. Good. I accidentally stumbled into the right date, so that's a first for me. November 6th and 7th, Leaders Retreat in Asheville, where the home office is based. It's actually not going to be at the home office. We don't have a venue big enough there because we're going to have a lot of people there. But guys, if you are interested in building something bigger than yourself, you will want to be at that event in Asheville. That's a huge event. A lot of times what we're going over there, what the things that are coming out of that event are really advanced. And when I say advanced, we're getting advanced notice on programs, services, products, things that the company is doing behind the scene. And they really make a point of including us in some of those conversations and really kind of giving us a peek behind the curtain of where this company is going at that event. Conference, they roll out a lot of new stuff, but usually they're rolling it out when it's already ready to launch. But Leaders Reception, that is targeted for people who want to be on the inside track, who want to get advanced notice, who want to get a leg up in this business and be on the cutting edge. So if you have an interest in that, be at that meeting. Hey guys, they are charging a small registration fee for that, very, very minimal actually for everything that they're including, because I think it even includes, if I remember right, they're having the Symmetry Challenge the next day, which is some money that we raise for charity, and it actually includes a meal. So it's only $49 for the 2 days. So they kept it really, really low. But you're going to get a ton of value out of that meeting. So make sure that you're putting that on your calendar, November 6th and 7th. Get to that meeting. That's going to be very important.
Yes, and Chris, and just wanted to add one thing on that. They mentioned that at the conference that the $49 for that actually goes directly to our fundraising efforts for Make-A-Wish.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up because that is an important point. We're really trying to raise a ton of money. We have been every year, but we're really raising the bar on the amount of money we're raising for Make-A-Wish. So that event, like I said, everything that they're raising from the ticket sales is going directly to Make-A-Wish. So couple of quick announcements, guys. Couple things that I want to highlight for you in your businesses to make sure that we're staying on top of things and being successful. Guys, as an agency, when we send emails out to you, there's going to be 2 emails that you get directly from us, from the Menifee agency. A lot of times you're going to see announcements and stuff like that, and I realize with the inboxes that gets cluttered up, and you may or may not notice that those. We do that as a service just to kind of keep that number in front of you, the dial-in number or the Zoom number, all that stuff, the links, but also just kind of remind you of times, especially for brand new people coming in. So I get that clutters up the box. But if you get an email from us that has action required or it has attention, it has something in there that's a prompt that you need to do something, guys, you want to open that email and take care of it right then. So we're making a commitment on the agency level that we're not going to send any fluff emails out. I mean, the only 2 types of emails you're getting are just the call announcements or just kind of generally what's happening as far as the schedule goes. But the other thing that we will send out, and this is something that you have to pay attention to, and I realize that we get a ton of emails. Trust me, guys, if you looked at my inbox by 9 o'clock in the morning, I've already got 100 emails, and it's a lot to manage. But it will cost you money if you're not paying attention. This is a discipline that you need to learn, especially if you're brand new or you're just now in the building process. You need to discipline yourself to pay attention to your emails. It will cost you money, literally. And I can tell you a story that, just a few weeks ago, a few months ago, cost me a few $1,000s by missing an email. Okay. So when we send you an email says take action, we need, you know, take a look at this, do this, guys, you ignore that at your own peril. I'll just put that out for you right now. And we're gonna make a commitment on the agency level again that we're not sending anything out fluff unless it's something that you need to take action on. So if you get that, pay attention to it, especially when you see that subject line that says action needed, you know, today, you know, especially if it's urgent, we're gonna put that in that subject line. So you will want to open that as soon as you get that and take action on that, because I guarantee you it will cost you money or will cost your business momentum. Okay? Related to that is some things that are going on with recruiting. You know, the company's putting on this recruiting contest, and some of you may say, well, okay, great, you know, recruiting contest, I'm just putting my head down, I'm recruiting, that's fine, I'm just gonna get people in. Guys, you need to make sure that you understand what the company's doing right now. They have the bonuses that they pay out, the capital bonuses, all this stuff like this, but the bonuses, that bonus program was put in place to make sure that people were having an opportunity to reinvest in their business and success. Okay, so what the company's looking at is they found that they were paying a lot of bonuses out, and not everybody was taking those bonuses and reinvesting in their business. I mean, in other words, the whole point of the bonus was to give you a leg up in marketing or process or whatever. So what the company did with this contest, they said, okay, if you're not going to build, we're not going to give you a bonus. Okay? So what that means is, as you are recruiting and as you're getting packets in, there's a process that we have to go through for our numbers to count, number one, so the company recognizes that we are putting in the effort, but so you don't get impacted on the bonus side of things, okay? So pay very close attention. I'm going to give you the steps here. This is what Laurie's put in place to make sure that we are getting our numbers counted, okay? So number one, always send the normal mini onboarding for every new recruit. So this is something that we need for the agency to track that. So anybody, we've got that mini onboarding link. And if you're new to recruiting or you're new to building and you need that, just reach out to us. We'll get you hooked up. Those of you who are already sending those out, keep sending those out. Okay, nothing changes there. Keep sending those out. Laurie is watching the onboarding for the insurance training. So she will know when somebody signs up for training, and we're being proactive on our end. As soon as we see that happen, the third step is she is going to send a full Symmetry onboarding packet. And that's part of that piece that we need to get done to make sure that gets counted for this contest, okay? Now, she's going to do that with a detailed explanation. So I know we set up the mini onboarding because it was kind of a little bit overwhelming to send out that full packet. Guys, we're going to address that. So we're going to make sure that the new recruits understand that when we send that full onboarding packet, that's just the next step or the next progression in getting them set up for their business. So we'll tell them, hey, we are going to be asking for some personal information, but we're helping you set up your business, okay? We take care of that. Don't worry about that. Then step 4, Laurie will piece together the email information necessary to qualify each new recruit and send that to contracting. And there's a very specific process and procedure that we do to make sure that we get that counted. And again, nice thing about this, she's taking care of it. You don't have to worry about it. We're taking care of it on our end. Just make sure you're doing your follow through. Number 1, getting the mini onboarding. Okay, make sure that your people are signing up. Number 2, we'll keep a track on, make sure they're signing up for the licensing course. But make sure that you're kind of keeping an eye and touching base with your people on a regular basis to make sure that they are, that they're getting signed up for the training. Okay. Okay, I think that looks like it for announcements. All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate each and every one of you being on this morning. Excited for this coming out of conference, guys. This weekend, when you're putting your activity in, keep in mind while you're making dials, and I get it, dials are not one of those activities that many of us really just get jazzed up and excited about. But that's your $125 an hour activity. That literally is the one thing that you can control in your business to make sure that you're hitting that high level number. And it's a necessary part of the business. It's part of that grind, if you will, that we got to go through. Okay. All right, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you being on. Have a great weekend of dialing. Set yourselves up for a big week next week, and let's keep this train rocking and rolling. All right. Talk to y'all later. Have a good one.